Good evening, everybody. Yeah, you know me. I can't stay away from talking to you guys, but whatever. It'll be random. So, I hate to be all doom and gloom, but here we are, a week out from the midterm elections in 2022. And let me just see here. All right, one second. All right. Here we are a week out from the midterms in 2022, and we what the hell? So I don't know if that froze up or what. All right, good. Okay, so again, we're a week out from the midterms in 2022, and I mean, Senate races that we thought, or I'm sorry, House races that we thought were going Republican are going Democrat. Hell, Kerry Lake might even lose in Arizona as far as governor, which is holy shit. But it definitely was not a red wave. I mean, the big winner was definitely Florida. We've gone through this. But see, the title of this video or the description, whatever, is the fight is so much deeper than people believe. And I don't know, maybe I've had an epiphany over the last couple of days or something, but, a few of the pieces of information that I've been hearing from the sites that I normally follow, like Tim Pool and stuff like that. Like, if you guys really want to follow some people that know some shit, Tim Pool, Dave Rubin, those guys really know some stuff. Anyway, some of the things that I've been following from them, man, they've really opened my eyes to a lot of things, and the fight is so much deeper than anyone really realizes. Here's the big problem. Is that we have gone from an informed electorate to an uninformed electorate. Meaning, you see, people that follow me, or anybody like me, including Tim Pool, Dave Rubin, any of them, even Joe Rogan to a point, they're pretty informed. We know that the Russiagate bullshit was a hoax. We know that. The Jesse Smollett stuff was a hoax. We know that the Covington High School stuff was a hoax. Stuff like that. Okay, so we're kind of in the know to different levels, right? But the people that I'm talking about have zero clue, nor do they care. What's up, Levi? Nor do they care what's going on in the country, and they are really, really uninformed. Well, how did they turn out, I use in quotes because it's actually, how did they return so many votes from that generation? How did the Democrats get so much from that generation? Gen Z turned out in force. I mean, they were out there for the Democrats. See, the Republicans saw a record turnout, physical turnout for voting, right? But the Democrats saw a record in returns. So yeah, we could put on the tinfoil hat and say that COVID was, a plot, blah blah blah. But no, it doesn't really matter. I don't really care about any of that right now. I care that those people that are responsible go to jail. But what I do care about is this: it allowed Democrats mainly, but also Republicans, to game the system to the point where mail-in voting, mass mail-in voting, is now not only legal but accepted. Tim Pool named a couple of different scenarios that this really hurts. Think about this. You have a bunch of 18 to 24-year-olds that are living in their mom's basement right now. And that's not a slight. That's the truth because of where the economy is. And with COVID and everything else, right? So you have a bunch of these people that are living in their parents' basements, basically getting a late start on life or just not knowing where the hell to go because the economy is stacked against them. And because of that, right? Maybe they're not getting out in the world. Maybe they're not seeing things. Maybe they don't know what paying taxes is yet. Maybe they don't know what life is all about yet. They've never had that hardship. They don't know, what America's all about, right? Good and bad. Anyway, so those kids are watching TV. Those young people are watching TV. And the Democrats are standing there saying, we're going to give you X amount of dollars towards your college, we're going to forgive $10,000 to, your college loans. We're going to give you this and we're going to give you that and we're going to make this free and we're going to make that free. Well, to an uninformed voter that doesn't know any better, that sounds friggin' awesome. And then they get a mail-in vote. They get a vote dropped off to their door where they don't have to go outside. They don't have to go anywhere. And they fill it out. Hey, these are the people I see on TV that are going to give me free money. And then they send it off. And I'm not even getting into voter fraud or any of that or cheating. I'm talking about what's legitimately happening above and beyond the cheating and the voting fraud and everything else. And then the other scenario, mom gets the ballots for all of her kids at her house, right? Because they're all still named under the house, right? So mom gets the ballots for all of these kids and goes, they come over for a Sunday dinner or something like that. And she said, hey, guys, I got your ballots. Fill them out and then we can go out. Oh, Mom, I don't really care about what's going on. I understand that. Just fill them out so we can go. And they fill them out with the people that they see on TV all the time, right? Which are mainly going to be Democrats. So now you've got millions upon millions of people that are voting that literally have no idea, nor do they care what's going on in the country, right? This is how you get a collapse in our system. Because, you got to look at it, right? Facts. Forget partisan bullshit. Facts, okay? The economy is worse than it's ever been, right? We have a leader that is arguably incapable of forming three sentences together. That's not a slight on him. He's old. Okay? He's probably got some form of dementia setting in. Again, not a slight on him. It's just he's old. I'm taking all my personal views about this person out. Okay? I'm just facts. He's not strong. Let's just put it that way. He's not a strong leader. You have, like I said, the worst economy ever. We're more dependent on people that want to kill us than ever before. We are weaker in so many more ways than we ever have been. Okay? Yet, millions of people just elected a bunch of Democrats. And the Democrats are the ones in control. We're sitting here logically going, how the fuck? How did this just happen? Well, it's actually pretty simple how it happened. Because a bunch of uninformed voters that just saw a bunch of people on TV screaming about stuff that, the January 6th and the this and the that, all of the stuff that we know is debunked. It's been debunked forever. Okay? But they don't, because they're uninformed and ill-informed and low information voters. They are now the voting base of the Democrats. You have to understand that. So when you're sitting here still, like I'm seeing so many people, so many pundits still out there, well, how can Republicans come back from this? And, Donald Trump or DeSantis. No, guys, it literally comes down to voting laws. It literally does. I understand that the population of the United States has bloomed since the Constitution was written and voting, laws were in place. Okay, so if you want to argue and say that, that there's far too many people to vote, count the votes and everything in one day, I might even agree with you on that. Okay, so let's make it Monday through Friday, a voting week, but in person. In person. Let's make it Monday through Friday in person. Mail-in ballots go back to the way they were. The only way you get a mail-in ballot is if there's some sort of extraordinary circumstances. You're military and you're overseas, or you have a deathly illness or something like that. But you go back to in-person voting, okay? And make it a whole friggin' week, whatever. But 3 days to start out with, and then make it a week if we need it, okay? But in person, if we cannot get that passed as a federal, because by the way, these are for federal elections. If we cannot get that passed on a federal level, then we're screwed, because the electorate is completely different. But we have existential threats that are far bigger than that. Denise says there are nonprofits that hire you for a job to go door to door and target people who have them vote. Also look up on .org. They text your phone and have you protest vote, call and email politicians, etc. Yeah, and that's called get out the vote. And Republicans need to be doing that too, but they're not. Mickey O'Connor says the president is not an American. He's a communist and a traitor. In this video, I'm just going to leave my personal sentiments out of this, but there you go. That's what Mickey said. Anybody who's been following me for a while knows where I stand on this president and on Democrats, etc. But anyway, what I'm getting at is from the threat from within is this. We are now handing the future of the country over to millions of people that, number one, have no idea about what's going on in the country. They think they do. And that's the problem. They think they do. But they actually have no idea whatsoever what's going on in the country. And the other part is most of them just don't care. Right? Most of them just don't care what's going on in this country whatsoever. So, you know, I think it was Ben Franklin that said, it takes compassion and a well-informed populace or electorate in order to make this work. We've lost all compassion because of these things for human beings, and we have no informed electorate because it's been designed that way now. It's being groomed that way, and I think that it's being groomed that way on purpose. And I'm going to read you a tweet from a Richard Medhurst. He says, "This is huge. Over a dozen countries have now applied to join BRICS, BRICS, look it up, including Algeria, Iran, and Argentina. The multipolar order is taking shape before us. If expanded, BRICS, BRICS, would comprise over half the global population, 60% of it. Over half the global population, 60% of global gas, and 45% of global oil reserves. BRICS is a big deal. BRICS is basically China and Russia and a few other countries getting together and creating a new currency backed by gold. And it's probably going to be a cryptocurrency. That is a very, very big deal because it will. Understand this. This is not doom and gloom. This is not conspiracy theory. This is 100% truth and fact. It will supplant us or replace us as the leading superpower in the world. As a matter of fact, it will drop us down to not being a superpower at all. We will be crushed economically if this goes through. And I think we are being groomed with the ill-informed and underinformed electorate to basically then join, this is where the thinking hat comes on, to then join the full globalist movement, the one world government. Whether it be the UN, whether it be the Chinese government, whatever. Okay, it's going to be a global agenda government, and then we will just be a part of that. Now, for some of you, that might not scare you. For me, being a patriot, that strongly believes that one of our greatest achievements is being the last bastion of freedom for the entire world. That's all going to come to an end. All of it. It's going to come to an end. They are talking about replacing the United States dollar and therefore replacing our economy as the premier economy in the world. You have to understand the serious ramifications of that. And I believe that our government, I don't give a fuck what side you're on, our government is grooming us to accept that and to be a part of that. And that is some scary stuff. But let's stop with the Republican versus Democrat bullshit. Let's stop with and don't get me wrong, I've got my own proclivities and all of that. I understand the easiness it is to dive into your own corner and say, I'm just going to fight them. And for those of us that sit out there and say, oh, the fight is coming and this and that, and look at this data dump and all that, they control everything. That's not a conspiracy. They control literally everything. Everything that we see and we hear is controlled by them. They can flip a switch right now and shut me off if they wanted to. If I was big enough, if I had enough of a following, they could just, and I'd be gone. Okay? Understand that. So every piece of data that you're seeing, that's the new big thing, that you think we got over on them for the last big thing, is just the next thing for you to be controlled by them. That's the part that people are missing. Every piece of data, whether it be for our side or for theirs, is something that the system, has allowed us to see and hear. That's the part that people just don't get. So while we're all busy fighting with each other, they're just smiling and raking in the money. I mean, look at this climate change. This is just a quick tangent. I've looked at 4 or 5 different articles now about, Bloomberg and other big companies talking about how we need to, get better on climate change and blah, blah, blah. And without fail, every single comment, I mean, I'm serious, every single one, there might be one mixed into 1,000 comments that are all negative. They're all negative. And I mean against them, not against us, against them. Saying this is a Ponzi scheme, this is bullshit, what happened to Al Gore, we're all supposed to be dead by 2013, yada, yada, yada. Like literally, it is 1,000 to 1 negative comments. So if we're to believe what we're seeing with our own eyes, nobody believes this shit. Well, how come it's one of the biggest industries in the entire world today? Okay? People are getting poured money to get electric cars and solar and wind, where none of it works. It works, but to a very, very limited scale. And again, the logistics of, let's just take an electric car. The lithium battery that you get in your electric car, the amount of mining and damage to actual soil that had to be done in order to get one lithium battery is staggering. Then it has to get shipped over here. Okay? It has to get shipped over here using a ship that uses, oil, diesel, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Okay? Then it has to be, put into the car, etc. It only has a 10 to 15 year lifespan. It has to get plugged into a grid that is powered primarily by coal. So you're upping the need to destroy the planet, literally, by digging into it, strip mining, basically. Then you're upping the transportation of all of this. So you're using more ships. So it's more pollution. Then when it gets here, you only have 10 to 15 years where, I mean, shit, there's still cars rolling around from the 50s and 60s and earlier, right? Gasoline engines. You could just rebuild them. Not only that, then when they do die or burst into flame, if you're lucky, they just die, then they got to go into a landfill and they're toxic as fuck then. But while they're living, they are being plugged into a freaking grid that is powered primarily by coal. So now you're upping the amount of coal we're using. So literally, you're not doing anything for the environment. If anything, you're hurting it. Then on top of that, in America at least, our grid is under so much strain right now that it's taxed. I mean, you've got people asking in California to turn down your ACs in the summer. Turn up. People are being locked out of their own thermostats. Literally, a message comes up and says, the government has said, you can't set your thermostat below or above this certain temperature, so we're locking you out. In your own freaking home. This is already happening. Look it up. It happened in Colorado, Utah, I believe Arizona, California, Nevada. Look it up. Okay? All of this has happened already. So now you're going to put all of these extra millions of electric vehicles on a grid that's already failing. So we're going to have to pour billions, if not $1 trillion, into our infrastructure just to build up our grid in order to handle the increased demand of the electric cars. But you're still not doing anything about the fact that coal is our primary fuel for the grid. Not to mention the strip mining that goes into the batteries. Not to mention now we get into the comfort, the quality of life. They only go this far before they die. Okay, a gas engine, you stop at a gas station, you keep going, no problem, it just keeps going. An electric car, you literally die, and then you have to charge and charge and charge and charge. Oh, but they got the rapid chargers. Listen, guys, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, far from it, but I've had batteries my entire life of some sort. We all know that if you quick charge a battery too many times, it shortens the lifespan, like, significantly. You have to do slow charges in order for a battery to extend its lifespan or reach its full lifespan. So now you're shortening its lifespan just to get the quality of life, or not even the same quality of life, but at least a monicum of the quality of life that you have with a gas car already. Okay, so let's say you can get your car down to 20, 25 minutes charge. What are you going to do every 300 miles? Like, let's say you want to go across the country. I want to go visit my brother in PA. I have to charge my fucking car for a half hour at least once just to get there. God forbid I'm towing something on a truck. Forget it. Now, Mickey, I don't mean to be rude, buddy, and I don't want to be rude, but he says, my brother, all of this is in the Bible. We are not spoke of in a war of Armageddon. Why? Because we are not a superpower. And the Bible also says there will be one world religion. Government is the religion. The Pope is now working on that. A house divided cannot stand. We must unite. Now, the last part I agree wholeheartedly, but I've said this in my last video, and I'll say it really quickly here. I don't want to really harp on it. Religion, organized religion, okay, of any sort. I don't care if it's Catholic, or Jew, Muslim. I don't care. Any organized religion out there is a great way to control people that need or want to be controlled. Okay? Logic says, reasoning says that, you should believe in something higher than you because obviously we belong to something great and grand, right? But logic also says that we were born with a certain power inside of us. I'm not going to even get into all of that. The stories of the Bible, the stories of every other religion, have been told for thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands of years. So the stories that we're following now are literally the quote-unquote Johnny-come-latelys, the last in a long line of stories. They're not even original stories. You understand? So, like I've seen people say, the way to heaven or the way to paradise is only through Jesus. So what? Every Jew is locked out? Every Viking is locked out? Every Muslim is locked out? Well, what happens to, we're all God's children? What, they all have to convert or else they don't go to paradise? That sounds an awful lot like, convert or die, which is, in the Quran. It's also in the Old Testament of the Bible if you actually do your research on that. Okay? So there's tons of stuff. The bottom line is this. If you look at the Bible and you actually look and read the Bible and study the Bible, you will see, and don't cherry pick, actually read it. You will see that the Bible closely mimics the culture of the day. Like, for instance, if you planted two crops next to each other, you could be killed for that. If you know what, there's a whole skit on it. There's a whole thing in a show on it, and it's all true. I've looked up the actual things that he listed. If you want to go look it up, I believe it's the West Wing. You can look up the West Wing Bible episode or Bible quotes. You can look that up. I'm not going to get into it because it started from homosexuality. The Bible says homosexuality is a sin or a travesty or an abomination or something. And he's like, you're right, it absolutely does. And then he lists that his brother should be stoned because of some reason, some stupid reason that we would never even think about killing somebody for today. Another person should be killed publicly because of the fact that they planted two crops next to each other. These are all in the Bible. Okay, so here's my thing. If you're going to follow the Bible, then follow the Bible, right? That means that people are going to be getting killed left, right, and center. If you're going to just modernize it because it's modernized times, then you're cherry picking. You're not following the word, right? Because the word in today's culture is stupid if you actually follow it. Now, the morals of the Bible are great morals. I'll give you that every day, all day. They're great morals, but that's all they are. They're guidelines. They're morals. They're not the actual word of God. Because if they were, then our culture would have never changed to get away from them. You get what I'm saying? But anyway, look it up. You'll see what I'm saying. As far as the rest of this goes, like I said, the internal war comes from the fact that we have a lack of information, informed people. As sick as it is to my stomach to even say this, Tim Pool was exactly right on this. If the Republicans came out and said, oh my God, $10,000? That's what my Democrat opponent wants to give you? I think that's ludicrous. I think all college should be free. I'll give you $50,000 to everyone. Oh, and for those that don't go to college, I'll give you $150,000. Now, for us on the right, we're all going, what the fuck? No. But here's the thing. It's unconstitutional. Look what happened. The day after Election Day, a federal judge turned around and said, nope, sorry, that's unconstitutional. You're not getting a dime. Haha, sorry. You know what Joe Biden says? No refunds. Sorry about that. So they make promises that they know they can't keep by the constitutionality of this country. And that's how they win voters, because they're low information voters. No offense, but they're stupid. They don't know what the fuck is going on. Okay? So now, if you take those same low information voters and you just promise them more than what the other side is promising them, all of a sudden they're your voters. It doesn't solve the problem, but it does solve it doesn't solve the big problem, but it does solve the immediate problem, the little problem of getting elected in the first place. Not saying that's what we should do, but I'm saying that's what we could do to win. Anyway, I hope this gives you something to at least think about. I love you guys. God bless. And yeah, man, keep up the good fight. Take it easy.